Hello and welcome back to another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 14th January today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we will start solving these questions, I would like to give you the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with it. you know we try our best to upload this video every day on our YouTube channel, and we will try to discuss various types of questions in it. And if we will break those questions into different parts, they will come under three different sets, we can say. In the first part of our discussion, the questions would directly come from the current affairs, and the most questions which we are going to discuss in this video are taken from the current affairs itself. And I can say almost 70 to 80% of this video would deal with the current affairs questions. So what we will do, what we are doing here, what do we do here? We take up the most important articles from the newspapers, we break them down into the simplest language possible, and we derive the possible preliminary questions from those particular articles, so that it will give you the idea what part of the newspaper is important for your preparation, what should be your approach towards your current affairs preparation, and how how you can expect the questions from these particular articles that we are going to discuss in the first part of our discussion. That is what the first part of our discussion deals with. After we solve questions with respect to the current affairs, we shift our approach to the another part of our discussion, where we discuss questions directly from the static topics. We had started doing this static topic discussion here from last 3 to 4 months now, and we are doing it in a very discreet manner. We try our best to take every day some article and discuss that in detail, and try to derive the preliminary question from that. Right now we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity we had reached up to the office of president under constitution. So today we are going to discuss article 53 in it, and we will try to derive the possible preliminary based question from that particular article. So this is what we are going to do in the another part of our discussion. After we will solve questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a question directly from the previous year question book. What we do, according to me, this is the most important part of our discussion. In this we will learn how the UPSC uses different trends in while they are setting the papers, how they are trying to deceive the aspirants, and at the same time how they want us to clear this exam, because everything is in the questions. We'll try to understand the methods, we'll try to understand the trends of UPSC, we'll try to understand the vocabulary of UPSC, and we will try to understand what are the different ways and methods by which we can still solve these questions if we don't have the proper knowledge. And also we will try to understand how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam. So this is all what we are going to do in this video in nutshell. Now before we will start our discussion about these questions, I would like to request you guys one important thing, which I believe if you will follow that, it will help you in many ways in clearing your prelims exam. What you have to do if you are preparing for 25 or 26. What you should do from today onwards, do one thing: start noting down these questions, develop your own question bank. If you have your own question bank when your exams are near, I'm talking about the month of May, you are left with only few days, or maybe 20 or 25 days, and it is the human tendency at that time you want to revise everything what you had studied, but time would not permit you, because you have to go for CSAT and different, whether it would be current affairs, static topic, previous year question analysis. You have to go through huge syllabus that time, and time does not permit you. So what will you do? What should you do at that time? If you have these questions, if you would have developed your own question bank from these questions, what you will do, you would just revise these questions. These questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs. It will cover your current affairs, it will cover your static topic, it will cover your previous year question analysis, and it is going to boost your confidence. And also, who knows, as it is the same source what the UPSC is using for framing your papers, maybe many questions can coincide. If not the questions, many statements, if not the statements, but trust me, concepts would be same which they are going to ask. So my final request to you guys, please do note down these questions, and also please guys, If you are watching this and you had not subscribed yet, please do subscribe the channel, do hit the like button and do share it with your friends. When you will subscribe us, it will help the channel to grow, and your likes are appreciated, it boosts our confidence, and when you communicate with us, it gives us some extraordinary energy to work more on such videos. So this is our sincere request to you guys, please do subscribe the channel to help it grow. So with this, let's start our discussion with our first question. As you can see, the question here is about the UNESCO initiative. The question here is about the UNESCO initiative, which talks about transforming mentalities. Why we had brought this question? You may ask me question here, sir. What was the reason why we had brought this question here? Why we are discussing this topic out from nowhere? What is the reason? Why we have to discuss about this initiative of the UNESCO, which is you know, transforming mentalities. Basically, if you would have read today's newspaper, there was an article which talked about transforming mentalities, redefining masculinity. You know, if we'll see the cultures we are living in, the society which we are living in, we had been, being men, we had been given different duties. We are taught from our beginning, we had understood it. It is now mixed with our upbringing that we have certain duties which are very much defined for the men, and there are certain duties which are very well defined for the woman, or we can say girls, or female sex. There are certain duties which are for male sex only. So it is very much well defined in the society. It is what we get from the society. Let's assume there was a society which does not have these values, which does not have these cultures, and a child is born there, whether it would be male or female, and everybody behaves like same. That child will grow in that manner only. So what does here the article which we are referring here, what does it talk about? It talks about two major issues. First, it talks about sex. It talks about sex and gender. Basically, to be honest about my personal, the way I saw this article, there are some we can say femininity associated with it. Somehow you can say that modern realization of the gender is associated with it. And personally, if you will ask me, do you believe such things, I would say no, because to me, the gender system and the sex system, it is something defined. If I would had wrote this article, I would had not associated it with the gender, but how I would had associated it with how the society has taught the genders to do it in certain way. Even though it also talks about that, but it has given two different definitions to sex and gender. That is what I'm not agreeing with it, but being an UPSC aspirant, you have to agree with that. So I will make it very much clear here. So here the article says two things. He says that sex is something which you are born with. You can be male, you can be female. You can be male or female. It is something you are born with. It is something anatomy. It is something related to your anatomy. It is something related to your physiology. You are born with the sex is something you are born with. Either you would be male or female. Then he redefines gender. He says, according to the author, he says that gender is something what the society gives you. So he according to him, gender is something what the society gives you. It can be masculine and it can be feminine. So this is what he here tries to mention. But here, I did not personally, I don't agree with the author about this article, that how he defines gender. But the idea behind it, it is something different which I want to mention here. And for you being an UPSC aspirant, you need to be very much clear with this regard. You can't show this a kind of how it would, if you will write answers like that in your exams, you would be considered misogynist and it would hurt your preparation. So what I'm trying to express here, that how he defines gender, how he defines sex, that is something to do. But how he should have done, how he further goes through this, that the gender as it is defined by the society, it gives you two natures, either masculine nature or the feminine nature. And he talks about right now in the world right now, how the gender has, how the masculine, masculine nature in the world has, gained its importance, how it had led to the patriarchy in our in the world, all around the world, in different states. Majorly, if we would see, its impact would be major in certain countries, and its impact is lesser in certain countries, but this patriarchy is still existent in our world right now. So with this, he says, when these roles are defined, when this masculinity and the femininity is defined by the gender, by the society, it gives you different roles. It says, for example, he gives the example of few things about, for example, there is a kid and he is born male. How society will treat him. If he will go to the toy shop, what are the toys he would be bought, he would be told to play with. The shopkeeper will give him different toys which are specific to male. For example, he would go for the cars, he will go for other accessories which are specific to males. And similarly, if a female child goes to the shop, she would be given different toys. And that is something to do with how the society builds it in how the society builds this nature in the people. And that is something true what it talks about. That is something true. Whatever you are right now, whatever your mentality is, it is what society has fed you. If you are rebelling against your society, then what does it mean? There is something else which has attracted you. Everything you are fed with, your values, everything, it is fed by your society. Your society may be maybe your social media, your society, maybe where you are living. It is all, whether it is good or bad, it is fed by the society. So this is what the author says. So with this regard, according to the author, according to the research done, that in the world right now, three in the world right now, one in three women, they suffer from violence. One in three women, they suffer from violence from men. So he points out this concern in the world right now, that in the world right now, one woman out of three women suffer from violence from because of the men. And the reason for that, the reason which he gives to it, is the gender roles which are associated to them by the society. And with this respect, he talks about how it should be sanitized, how the stereotypes, if the stereotypes which the people follow right now, if they would be sanitized, if they would be removed from the society, we can reach to that egalitarian society which we are dreaming, where the woman will not suffer, where there would be very much equality. So this is, in this regard, he further talks about the UNESCO's transforming mentalities. And here we need to know more about what is this UNESCO's transforming mentalities. you know this actually, this is a program. It is running in different schools, through different schools in different countries, and it has few important points which it highlights about. Now we are talking about UNESCO's transforming mentalities. I hope you had understood the first part of our discussion. The first part of our discussion, it basically revolved around few points. First, how it highlighted how one out of three women suffer from violence from men. And the reason the author gives it, it is the roles given by the gender, it is the roles given by the society, whether it would be a feminine or masculinity, it is given by the society, how the society teaches you. And further he says that, further the author says that you need to sanitize the society, you need to sanitize the cultures. And with this regard, he talks about the initiative, namely UNESCO's transforming mentalities. And this UNESCO's transforming mentalities, it is running through different schools, in which it is sanitizing the boys from the young age about what their approach should be. And it highlights few points. For example, remove the rigid stereotypes against men, that you are a boy, you can't cry. Remove these rigid stereotypes. You can't show your emotions. Remove these rigid stereotypes. According to the author, if such emotions, if you are told that you can't cry, you can't show your emotions, what does it lead to? It leads to anger issues, it leads to being it leads to anger issues, and finally it can lead to the violence on women. So this is one concern, what this is one thing which the author highlights. But he forgets, this is something out of the blue, he forgets the activities done by the hormones, that is something different. So here, coming back to it, He highlights that UNESCO's mentalities initiative. What does it do? Remove the rigid stereotypes against men. Second, question the traditional space and notions. You have to question what are your traditional space and notions. If, for example, if you are told you are man, you can't cry. Why can't I cry? Why can't I show emotions? These are something good things what it is talking about. Similarly, give supportive role to men to show emotions. Give them that supportive role. If, for example, if a man is crying, show them, hug them. Why are you crying? Show the love to them. That is something which can, still, which can sterilize the society and also become champions. Once these things would be given to the child from the very young age, he would himself become champions of gender equality. you know they will be taught to be caregivers. For example, in our societies, usually women work in kitchens. They take care of the babies. So this thing, if the child is given these things from the young age, he would be very much available to do so. He will understand the role which the society is teaching them, and what the role the UNESCO, this transforming initiative, is talking about. These are some egalitarian roles which it is talking about. That it is saying, in nutshell, I would conclude it now, that it is saying, if these things are fed to the child from the very young age, then only we can achieve that society which we are dreaming from, which we are working for from last centuries. So that is how the woman can get that equal status what they are dreaming for. That is how the violence can be curbed on the woman from the men's side. This is all about this. I hope you had understood the discussion what it was about, and also about this UNESCO's transforming mentalities. Now let's try to understand more about it through this question. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding UNESCO's transforming mentalities initiative. First, it aims to promote gender equality by challenging social and cultural norms that perpetuate harmful stereotypes and inequalities. 100% correct. This is what it is meant for. Second, it focuses exclusively on legislative measures. Totally incorrect. Here you can understand one trick usually done by the UPSC. Here UPSC wants you to be extra smart. If ever you see these extreme words in the questions, most of the times such statements are incorrect. So for example, you did not knew about UNESCO's transform mentalities, and for example, you are very much unaware of this topic, and now you are left with this question, and you are reading it, and you can't find the you don't know anything about it. How you can answer it now? Out of a sudden you saw this statement, it focuses exclusively on legislative measures. So here what you can do, 90% of the time such statements are incorrect. Once you mark this statement incorrect, what you can do, option 2 is incorrect. You can mark this statement incorrect, you can mark this statement incorrect, you can mark this statement incorrect, and you are left with option B, that is 1 and 3. So you can easily mark the question correctly here. So most of the times when there are such extreme statements, they are incorrect. So coming to the third statement here, it says it recognizes the importance of engaging men and boys in promoting gender equality. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. With this, I hope you had understood the topic, you had understood the concern raised by the author, how you are born with the sex, and how the gender is given to you by the society, to which I don't personally agree, but you have to agree as you are UPSC aspirants. You have to be very much versatile in that, you have to be very much understanding in that. There are some arguments against that, but I don't want to raise it here. That is not the purpose of this discussion. So he further says that how the roles are given to men and women, and these roles given by the society, they give rise to these tensions which occur, these violences which occur against women, and how they can be sterilized. It can be sterilized by many ways, by sterilizing the society, and it can be also done through this UNESCO's transforming mentalities. If it is done from the very young age of the boy, if he is taught what he is about, what the society is about, what are the equalities, what are the rights of women, how he should be treated, if he is taught it from the very young age, he will definitely develop the traits which can overcome such issues. So with this, let's move to the another question and try to understand. Here the question is with respect to the rivers in Meghalaya. Consider the following statements. You may ask me questions, sir. There was not any mention of the rivers in Meghalaya. Why we are discussing this topic? To this question I would answer you. You would have discussed about, there was an article which talked about rat hole mining, which we discussed in our previous class also. Rat hole mining, we discussed it in our previous class also. We saw that how it is done in those areas where the coal is not found in that abundance. So they are not going for the people there, they are not going for the scientific ways of mining, because it would cost them much more than what they are going to get from the coal mines. So what they prefer there, they prefer rat hole mines there. And there are different, there are majorly two ways to do this mining. One is side cutting method, and the second is box cutting. What they do, what is side cutting? They will vertically cut the contours of the mountain or the contours of the place, and they will enter into those mines, and by hand chisels or other materials which they use with this regard, and they will get that. The another method is they will go for the box cutting, where they will enter through the vertical positions, and then they will go for the horizontal way. In this way they will do it, this mining. So these are two ways in doing this rat hole mining. Why we are discussing this rat hole mining? Because there was incident in Assam where 9 people were trapped in the rat hole mining, and with this regard, four had died, their bodies had been recovered, and five are still trapped. We can assume they are also dead. What happened? Because when they were doing this mining, because it because of the rain, they got stuck into it, and they would had, because of the flooding there, they would had eventually died, they got stuck in there. Now with this regard, about the rat hole mining in the northeast, it was very much, this issue actually started way back in 2014 itself. There had been incidents in Meghalaya in 2014, when almost 25 or something, or I guess 25 were the people who died in this incident. Then in 2019 itself, then 22 and 25. So with this regard, the issue was taken by the National Green Tribunal, and they said that they totally banned this rat hole mining in the northeastern areas. But still it is going on. Now here comes the issue of how this rat hole mining is still going on in the northeast. You would have heard about the sixth schedule. There are states, there are some laws when the constitution makes them, and they do not directly apply to those states which come under the sixth schedule. So we had discussed that many times, you would have also understood that. So with this regard, there is a act, namely Coal and Mines Nationalization Act of 1973. You would have heard about it. Coal and mining Coal and Mining Nationalization Act of 1973. Under this act, for example, if you have a private property and there any mineral was found, or mine, coal mines were found on your private property, that property will, that mining, its control would be go directly under the government, and they can auction that. So this is all about this, in nutshell, about this act. But with respect to these northeastern states which come under the sixth schedule, so today I will give you an assignment. Please, it is a very small assignment, I hope you won't mind it. Please find out what are the states which come under sixth schedule. This is the assignment to you. Please do write in the comments if you are watching the video, what are the states who come under sixth schedule. So once this act is there, Coal and Mining Nationalization Act of 1973, but it does not apply in these states, because because of the sixth schedule. And whenever there are such mines found in these states, they directly belong to the owner of that particular land. So these rat hole minings are done by them, but still the National Green Tribunal, they went against it, they banned it, but still it is going on. And this issue was still taken by in 2019, when in 2014, in 2014 National Green Tribunal banned rat hole mining. It was still going on in these particular states after the ban. In 2019, this issue was taken up by the Supreme Court, and they asked the officials there, how is it possible that this issue is still going on there. There would be definitely corruption would be there. State stakeholders would be very much involved in this. It can't be true that it has been banned and still it is going on. There would be some corruption from the officers there. So this issue was raised again, and because of these issues there are various challenges when the red coal mining is done. For example, when a person, there is some river flowing from here, usually how such accidents happen when rivers are flowing here and they went inside this mountain range, we can say, or this land, inside the land, and they don't know these people who are entering there, they are not very much experts. They just know how to chisel it, how to dig the land. When they get inside, they don't know where from the water is flowing, and unfortunately when they go very much near to the water body, the water seeps in and they get flooded. So these, and also these minings lead to the change of the nature of the water. If for example it was fresh water, it would have been neutral. Such waters change into acidic, yeah, and that is the case with the rivers in Meghalaya. For example, Luka river and Mintudu river, their nature has changed to the acidic. They became acidic because of the rat hole mining. So that's why we had brought this question here, to make you understand what is the impact of this rat hole mining, how it has been banned by NGT, National Green Tribunal, in 2014, how it is still working on, how the Supreme Court asked in 2019, how it is still going on, as it has been banned by the National Green Tribunal, how there are chances that there would be corruption from the officers and how it can be eliminated. For example, we can eliminate the corruption, we can amend the sixth schedule, in which we can introduce such a Coal and Mines Nationalization Act of 1973. There are many ways we can deal with this problem. So I hope you had got the basic idea about this topic. Now with this, let's try to solve this question and get more idea about it. Here the question says, with reference to the rivers of Meghalaya, consider the following statement. First statement: the Luka River is known for its seasonal change in color due to the impact of mining activities in its catchment area. 100% correct. And the mining activities which are done there, they are usually rat hole mining. Second, the Mintu river follows through the Janta hills and is a significant source of water for the region. 100% correct. Third statement: both Luka and Mintu rivers eventually drain into Brahmaputra. No, they drain eventually into the Bangladesh. There is a river which I forgot right now. There is the river. Uh, I totally forgot what is the name of that river, but one thing is very much sure, that they don't drain into the Brahmaputra river. So with respect to this question, the statement 1 and statement 2 is 100% correct. So statement 1 and statement 2 is 100% correct. With respect to this Luka and Mitunda rivers, where they eventually drain in, I will find it. I will answer you after a few minutes. I would remember that. Yeah, with respect to third statement, they don't, they don't drain into Brahmaputra river, but they flow through Surma Valley into Surma river and eventually in the Bangladesh. So third statement is incorrect. And what was the place through which they flow? They flow through Surma Valley and eventually in Bangladesh. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. So with this, I hope you had understood the question and also the context behind it. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is with respect to the Kundankulam nuclear power plant, why it is in news today, because Russia ships reactor vessels to Kundankulam, sixth unit. To its sixth unit, Russia had shipped reactor vessels. And what are those reactor vessels? These are VVER reactor vessels. These are VVER reactor vessels. What do we stand by VVER? By VVER, we stand by water energy reactor. Water energy reactor. This is what we stand by VVER. About this Kundamkulam nuclear power plant, it is located in Tamil Nadu. About this, we should know that it is jointly developed by Russia and this Kundamkulam nuclear power plant. About this, you should know. Okay, here it is. It is jointly developed by Russia and India. So this much information you should know They had why it is in news because the Russia ships reactor vessels to Kundam sixth unit, and what are those VVER 1000 megawatt reactor vessels. These are VVER 1000 megawatt reactor vessels. So they are shipped to this plant from Russia. So about this, why this is why it is in news. And now let's try to understand this question and get more idea about the Kundankulam nuclear power plant. Here the question says regarding the Kundankulam nuclear power plant, which of the following statements is are correct? First statement: it utilizes pressurized water reactors technology. 100% it utilizes pressurized water reactors technology, and this VVR water energy reactor, which is abbreviated as water energy reactor. It is also a pressurized. It is also a pressurized water reactors. First statement is correct. Second statement: it is located in the state of Andhra Pradesh. No, it is located in Tamil Nadu, not Andhra Pradesh. Third statement: it is India's largest nuclear power plant. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3. This is more PSC level question, but we can expect a UPSC question to be like this also. Sometimes UPSC faculties are very much lenient on you, so it is important for us to know what why it was in news, this type of questions, what it is about, as it is India's largest nuclear power plant, where it is located, what is VVER, what is VVR reactors, what is VVR 100 megawatt reactor vessels, what does VVR stand for. We should know about that, as it is pressurized water reactors. So with this regard, with this question, I hope you had got the basic context and also this question. Now with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve. Here the question is about a NOG Mk2 anti-tank, you know, anti-tank missile, anti-tank guided missile. Why we had brought this question? Because the Dordo, they had indigenously developed the third generation fire and forget anti-tank guided missile, which is it is the NOG Mk2. It is the third generation generation fire and forget anti-tank guided missile. Fire and forget anti-tank guided missile. It is developed by Dordo and it is indigenously developed. That is more important for us. It is the third generation. So they had successfully tested it and they are ready to hand over it to the army. This is why we are discussing this. Now let's try to understand more about this NOG Mk2 anti-tank guided missile. Here the question says, which of the following statements regarding this NOG Mk2 anti-tank guided missile is our correct? First statement: it can be launched from both land-based and air-based platforms. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. It is fire and forget missile. 100% correct. It is designed to engage heavily armored tanks in all weather conditions. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct. It is third generation. It is fire and forget missile. You don't have to maneuver the directions. It once you will fire it, it will automatically maneuver its directions with respect to the impact point, with respect to where it has been fired on. So with respect to this question, I hope you had got the basic idea why we are discussing this, because the Dordo, they had successfully tested it and they are ready to hand over it to the army, and it is indigenously built. It is third generation. It is fire and forget missile. This is all what you need to know about this. So with this, let's move to the last question of today's discussion, and with respect to current affairs, and after that we will shift towards the static part. Here the question is about trichophyton species. It is basically a trichophyton is a fungal species. It has impacted two men years back, two men in India, and there is a controversy with it. What is the controversy? That it was, basically this was found out, this infection, as it has impacted two men in India, one from India and one from Nepal. It was found out by the Japanese dermatologist. He found that this infection was found in two men, and they believed that this infection, this fungus, it should be named after the India. So they believed that it should be named as Tryphophyton indotineae. It should be named as Tryphophyton indotineae, which they believe that it should be named as Tryphophyton indotineae. And India does not like it, because according to us, we believe that we don't know the proper source of this fungus. So how they are going to use our name with respect that it will give a stereotype that there are fungus which are not treatable and they originate from India. So this is how it is done, and India does not like it, and India with other 13 countries are opposing this naming of this fungus. So this is the controversy which is in the news. It is the Japanese dermatologist who had found it. The infection was in two. It has infected two men, one from India and one from Nepal, and it was believed that it would be named after India as Trypophyton indotineae, but India does not like it, because we don't believe, we had not yet done enough research with respect to this fungus, that it originated from India. So we don't like it, naming it after it. It would give rise to a stereotype, and also with us there are 13 more countries who are against it. So this is the nutshell context behind it. Now let's see what does the question say. Question says trichophyton species are primarily associated with which type of infection. The direct answer to it is skin, hair and nail infection. Respiratory, no. Gastrointestinal, no. Blood infection, no. It is definitely skin, hair and nail infection. So with this we complete today's discussion with respect to current affairs topics. Yet we are left with static topic and the previous year question. Now let's move towards the static topic of today, as it is president we are discussing now, the office of president. Let's see what does it. From last 2 days we are discussing president. We saw that how he is the ceremonial head of the country, how we had brought this western ministerial democracy from Great Britain, how we are resembling, how our president is very much resembling with the monarch of the Great Britain. They are the ceremonial heads. They are de jure, they are not de facto, they are not the real heads. But every agreement which we sign it on his name. And we also found out that how the office of the president, if it would be asked in the exam, you should know it is in part 5 of the Indian constitution. So with this regard, we also discussed article 52, which talked about there should be the president, there should be the president of India. Article 52 states that there shall be a president of India, which means that this office can never remain vacant. We discussed that under article 52. Now today we are brought up with article 53. And to understand, if we will see, that's why I had brought this question here. So it should, you should be very much clear with this regard. Article 53, what does it says? It says that the executive powers of the union shall be vested in the president. What does it say? Executive powers of the union of the union of the union shall vest with shall vest with president. So what does it mean that the president has the final control over the executive powers? But does it really work in India? Is it really so? That's why we have to discuss, we have to understand article 53 with respect to, we have to understand article 53 with, read it in conjunction with these articles, which are article 74, which talks about the council of ministers, article 75 other provisions as to ministers, and article 78 duties of prime minister as and others. So we have to understand this article with respect to these articles. In nutshell, what does article 53 say? It says the executive powers of the union shall be vested with the president. What are those executive powers? These executive powers are involved with appointments. They are with respect to appointments. They are with respect to removals. They are with respect to legislations through ordinance when the legislature is not in session. So this is in nutshell about article 53, that the executive powers of the union shall be vested in the president. But does the president have the final say? No, he is bound by the aid and advice of the council of ministers and the prime minister. So we have to read it with, when we read this article, we have to read it with article 74, 75 and 78, so that we will have the proper understanding of it. Till now, what is article 73 about? It talks about, again I will repeat it, article 73, it talks about the executive powers of the union shall be vested in the president. So this is what it talks about. Now I hope you had got the basic understanding about this article, what it is about. Now let's try to solve this question and get more idea what we said in this discussion. Here the question says, Article 53 of the Indian Constitution concerning the executive powers of the Union should be read in conjunction with which of the following articles to understand the practical exercise of this power. What are the articles? What the question says, this article should be read in conjunction with which of the following articles to understand the practical exercise of this power. As we know, what articles 53 says, the executive power shall lie with the president. Does the president have the final say? That we will understand when we will read it with these articles. So what are these articles? Article 74 100%, article 75 100%, article 78 100%. So we can say all of the above. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option D. When we will reach in further classes in tomorrow, we are going to discuss the elections to the president. We will understand the election, we will understand the electoral college, all that with respect to that, and we will discuss them one by one. So with this, we complete discussion with the static topic also. Now let's shift our approach to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a previous year question. Here the previous year question, it was basically, right now I would try to recap you. We are discussing questions from physical geography, as we had already discussed all the questions related to ancient history, medieval history, modern history, India's freedom struggle. We had discussed every question related to that, and now we are discussing questions with respect to physical geography, and this question was asked in 2002. So let's see how, first we will try to understand a thing here, that for example, let's assume that you don't have the proper knowledge about this question. That is what we will try to understand in it, and you want to solve this question. You are left with this question, how you can give an intelligent guess. That's what we learn here. Let's see, look at the statement first, look at the answers, see what is common in most of the questions. You can see one is common in 3 and 2 is common in 3. These things are very much common. So if we can eliminate one of them, we are left with the answer. So let's first work on these options. Let's work on the option number 1. First option, it says in equatorial regions the year is divided into 4 seasons. Very fishy, in equatorial regions, how can year be divided into 4 seasons? There would be mostly winter and summers. There can't be 4 seasons. It is a very intelligent guess. Even if you don't know this answer, you can directly say that there is something wrong with this. There is something wrong with the statement, because we understand what if you have the basic knowledge, you understand what equator is, you understand the seasons there, by knowing the location of the place. We know that there can be only 2 seasons. Either it would be summer or either it would be winter. There is nothing 4 seasons about that. There can't be these 4 seasons. There is definitely only 2 seasons associated with it. So we can easily mark this incorrect, because it talks about, it has 4 seasons, which is totally incorrect. We can say this statement is incorrect. Or if now we will see, if first statement is incorrect, now we can directly eliminate option A, we can eliminate option B, we can eliminate option C. Now let's look at the second statement. In Mediterranean regions, summer months receive more rain. Something which we don't know, we can't, about this is more factual kind of thing. About this statement, we can't give the proper guess if we don't have the proper knowledge. But the first statement, we can give a guess. We can give an intelligent guess from our basic knowledge. So with this question, we can directly answer the correct answer, which is option D. Now coming back to it, now let's analyze the knowledge from here. Let's take the knowledge. In equatorial region, there is no 4 seasons. We understood that. Second statement, in Mediterranean region, summer months receive more rain. It is 100% incorrect, because it is the winter months which receive more rain. So this statement is also incorrect. Third, in China type climate, rainfall occurs throughout the year. Correct. Then fourth statement, tropical highlands exhibit vertical zonation of different climates, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct options would be option 3 and 4. So with this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you very much for staying with me. Thank you very much. And if you need the PDF of this video, please do communicate with us in our email ID. We had given it in our bio. Go to our bio, check the email ID, you can ask for the PDF. We will definitely send that. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.